pace. Audiobooks are a great, unique way to escape, learn new things, and explore worlds that you may not have known existed. Today, we're going to check out two main categories of audiobooks, one for introverts and one for extroverts. We're on the books reviews. Stay tuned. Alright, man, so first things first, I want to express how humble and grateful I am to have passed the 20,000 subs mark on the channel, man. I'm mad appreciative of that, and we're going to keep it going, man. So like I said, today we're going to look at the top three books for introverts and extroverts as per me, you know what I'm saying? So let's start at the very top, man. My first one, this is a book that I read in preparation for laying down my first audiobook, and this is 1984 by George Orwell. All right. Now, I got this in the introverts category because it's I don't want to say slow pace, but it's the right pace. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the right pace to absorb the information. The narrator did an excellent job. I'll drop his name in the description when I get that. But he had like sort of a British English type of accent, and he accentuated when he needed. He over dramatized it as per needed with the storyline. I'm not gonna get into the plot of 1984. That's something I read in high school. Big Brother's watching. It's kind of like the enemy of the state type of plot line. And yeah, man, that's the first on my list for introvert books. I give that book on my scale out of 5 mics. I give that book a 4. I really enjoyed it. It was a great storyline and great narration. All right, moving on. Number 2 on my list, and this is the first of the extroverted books. And here I'm gonna put Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's narrated by Trump. It's extremely fast paced. He just really jumps into it and hammers you from. I'll get the length of the book and drop that in the description. But it's got to be about 8 to 10 hours, And he just starts off, like 6:45. I flew to Iran and cut off their water supply. Then at 9:15, I went to China and brokered a $6 billion deal. And just keep hitting you the whole time. So it really makes it enjoyable. It's a unique, it's gotta be, I ain't gotta say it's gotta be, but it's Donald Trump. How many Donald Trumps are there in the world? I think, like, to be fair, I'm not a Trumper, by no stretch of the imagination, but I respect good game, you know what I'm saying? And he recorded this well before he became president. I want to say that this book was put together in the 90s, but it was definitely well before he became president. This is just a businessman giving up good business game. So in that same spirit and sense, I give it, I put it in the extrovert category. And on my scale, man, Art of the Deal, I'm going to give that another 4 as well. All right, so on my second introvert slot, I'm going to slide in Hustle Smarter, Hustle Harder by 50 Cent, narrated by 50. This was like 5th, 3rd, maybe even 4th audiobook, and it kind of showed the narration was smooth. I put it in the introvert spot because I think, not even I think, this was a more reflective 50. This was more of the businessman and the business mind 50, and he was more reflective on his success and the true steps that led him to being a successful man. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was dope. Like I said, I take good gems and good, advice wherever I can get it. You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking about people of a certain caliber, not particularly of a certain celebrity, because I don't value that shit, but I do value people who've gone through the ranks of life and have achieved enough shit where it's like, let me ingest what this person got to say. And that's what Hustle Smarter, Hustle Harder was from 50. He even he even kind of reflected on and spoke to his oldest son Marquise on a few different occasions in there, which I thought was dope. You know what I'm saying? And he put out there that it was his heart's intent that sometime in the future that their relationship get better. And we're gonna leave that at that. On my scale, hustle harder, hustle smarter, or hustle smarter, hustle harder. By 50, I'm gonna get at 3.5. I'm gonna get at a 3.5. All right, the next book in the extrovert slot is the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. The audiobook was narrated by Robert Landon. The Da Vinci Code was a book that just straight up changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember talking to a friend of mine a couple of months ago, and we was talking about, I believe she was telling me about a TV show and some of the characters from the show. And I was talking more to it and leaning more on the plot and the storyline, and expressing that to her. I remember saying to her, like, I don't really give too much a fuck about the characters, more so. I'm not looking for the good characters in the story more so as I'm looking for the God in the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to see where Allah is and how he presents himself through these different characters and situations. And the Da Vinci Code, man, whew, Allah is all in that one. You know what I'm saying? It presents itself through the trials and tribulations of the church and Christ and what Christ's true lineage is, and et cetera, all that's leading to the Most High, inshallah, one way or the other. And it's suspenseful as hell. The narration is off the hook. I'm a big fan of Dan Brown, but between him and Sister Soldier, those are like two of my top favorite authors, so yeah, second slot for extroverts. And I put it in the extrovert category because, like I said, this book is just suspense filled. It's dealing with the church, is dealing with politics, it deals with international situations. So I think that an extroverted person would be able to appreciate and fall into that storyline a little bit more, and then maybe able to hold them, inshallah, a little longer. Yeah, man. All right. My top audiobook, my personal top audiobook for introverts, 48 Laws of Power. 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is powerful music, baby. You know what I'm saying? He just dropping a whole lot of gems in there. And it's hard to miss the potency that's presented there. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think. Let me think some laws off the top of my head that I know. One of them that really, and this was something that I got straight from the book. It wasn't like I got this from several sources, and actually, maybe, but the book put it plainly for me, which was always say less than necessary. Alright, baby. Final top book in the extrovert category. This was actually the first audiobook that I ever indulged in. It got me interested in that space. My Infamous Life by Prodigy of Mobb Deep. May he rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? I ain't the biggest Prodigy fan. I'm not a Prodigy fan. I'm a little bit of a Mobb Deep fan, but I'm not a Prodigy fan. I respect the man. I think he's dope. You know what I'm saying? Especially post-mortem. I got a certain level of reverence for his shit, especially with the new motherfuckers that they bring to the game now. Prodigy is dope. Mobb Deep is dope. My Infamous Life audiobook, though, is off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Because Prodigy lived such a a unique life, and he has such a unique voice. It's one thing that I think nobody could really take from that man is his cadence, is how ill his cadence is. So to get the narration straight from him is kind of like a little jewel. It's like kind of a little gift. You know what I'm saying? It makes the overall experience and the ability to indulge in the book that much greater. The uniqueness of his life, the caliber of his celebrity presents so much uniqueness that it's hard to not stay tuned. You know what I'm saying? And I believe he wrote that book when he was in prison. He did a little skid bid for a gun charge or whatever. Wrote the book, released the book. I remember when he came out, it was a little bit of static behind some things that he said in the book. I know he had problems with Nori. He did have problems with Hav too. I remember that. Hav kind of dissed him, but we ain't getting into all of that. My top book for Extroverts, My Infamous Life by Prodigy. I'm gonna give that a 5. I'm gonna give that a 5 on my scale, man, because like I said, it was my first audiobook. It got me into audiobooks. It was just everything that you look for in experience. It was dope narration, dope storyline. Yeah, what more can I say, baby? Stay tuned for the next review I'm gonna do is the Only in America audiobook on Jay-Z by Michael Eric Dyson. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out and let me know, you know what I'm saying, if y'all got something that y'all want me to review, leave it in the comments. Keep sharing, liking the page, the post is appreciated. Trainer Leonard Smith, I'm out.